Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report. Trusted, timely, tradition.
Welcome back. Well, the latest U.S. drought monitor this week showed drought continues to spread. And as conditions are even worse than what farmers saw heading into the 2012 growing season, it's a stark difference from the east to the west in one state, as it's a tale of two North Dakotas. Just outside of Grand Forks, North Dakota,
the moisture situation's looking really good for the springtime.
the weather has done a 180.
We got probably 12, 14 inches of rain in areas last fall.
From practically no snow cover or moisture last year to more than a foot of rain this fall and constant shots of snow this winter, it means optimism is growing in the Red River Valley.
We've had tremendous amount of snow, cold weather. I don't see our start date until, that April 25th is going to probably be the earliest.
In 2020, the situation was severe. Record prevent plant in this area was due to this. The moisture started in the fall of 2019 and never shut off. These farmers just down the road from Hong were even harvesting their 2019 crop in March of 2020. And today, the snow isn't as deep, but topsoil moisture has made a comeback, with the latest U.S. drought monitor showing the southeast corner of North Dakota currently drought-free.
I have to say, North Dakota is really kind of it's a tale of two states right now.
USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey authored the drought monitor this week. He says where Hong Farms is a bit of an anomaly in the state right now, as the western part of North Dakota is still seeing drought.
It's been almost a snowless winter there. There's been a lot of wind, temperature extremes, and it not only has it not gotten better, but in some areas it's actually gotten worse than compared to what we saw at the end of last summer.
Rippey says when you step back and look at the broader picture, drought is still parked over 57% of the U.S., the most since 2012.
By far, the wheat belt is the biggest concern.
As drought has gripped much of the West all year,
If you look at crop conditions in areas where the crop's starting to actively grow, it's absolutely terrible.
it's wheat conditions showing the scars from little to no moisture today.
You're into Texas, you've got 3/4 of the winter wheat crop rated in very poor to poor condition. Almost that much of the rangeland and pasture land, 69%, currently rated very poor to poor. And soil moisture in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, at least 75% very short to short at the end of February.
And some farmers say wheat on dryland acres hasn't even sprouted yet.
We are into showtime in the south, and Texas wheat is already heading out in the far south. Despite a couple of winter storms recently, a little bit of ice and snow in Texas, it is still critically dry, and without any big change in the pattern, that will quickly spread northward into Kansas, Nebraska, and eventually the western Dakotas and Montana here over the next few weeks, unless something changes dramatically.
The latest spring drought outlook doesn't paint much hope for those areas either, as it shows drought persisting or even intensifying through the end of May.
And it doesn't look like there's going to be any big change before the start of the growing season.
That's as Rippey says La Nina is lending no favors to areas seeing the stubbornness of drought.
Here we are in the spring of 2022 facing significantly more drought than we had going into the spring of 2012. We've still got La Nina sticking around enough to influence weather patterns, and that's a huge concern for the Great Plains, for the Southwest, along the Gulf Coast, even into the Southeast.
While some areas of North Dakota have improved, USDA's NASS division shows 40% of the state's topsoil moisture is still rated short to very short. Only 5% is seeing a surplus.
Well, I'm going to say, the top profile here is probably going to be enough to get us going, but you go down 3-4 feet, it's dry. I mean, we did some tiling last year and there was no moisture to be found. So I'm going to say our subsoil here is we're running on E.
And as Hong makes planting plans for this year,
we're a specialty farm. I mean, we grow specialty crops. I mean, sugar beets and edibles are our babies.
he says he won't plant a single acre of corn on his farm.
This is the first year that we're not raising corn just because wheat is going to be profitable for us. So we're going to plant some more wheat.
As Hong and other farmers across North Dakota weigh their options,
There's lots of concerns, but supply chain issues.
input issues are weighing on every decision they make.
I mean, we started seeing that last year in parts and stuff like that. Chemicals, fertilizer, fuel.
And this North Dakota farmer isn't alone. The latest Ag Economy Barometer shows closing in on spring, the biggest concern is coming from sourcing herbicides.
30% of crop producers in February said they had some difficulty purchasing crop inputs for the 2022 season. And that included inputs like herbicides, insecticides, fertilizer, and farm machinery parts.
Hung says equipment he ordered months ago still is lost in the supply chain chaos.
We did buy some new equipment and it's not here. We've kept some of our used stuff back, so when it comes, we'll switch it out.
As this farmer isn't letting the uncertainty cloud his outlook this year.
Things will work out. They always do.
Well, that dryness is heightening concerns when it comes to areas even beyond North Dakota. We'll continue our grain marketing discussion from the CHS Ag Industry Day in Grand Forks next.